thought I'd just make a small video talking about a realization I made. And it's that I've realized that a lot of the times during meetings or during any particular scenario, I do a lot of just self-restraint, if that makes sense. I just sit and listen for a while. And part of the reason that I'm realizing that I'm making these kinds of videos is so that I can do some autonomous thinking for myself, because that's something I severely lack maybe not the ability to do, but rather just it's a skill I haven't developed. Because a lot of the times I'll be in conversation and I'll just listen and I'll ask questions to prompt what other people think about things. And I talked about this with a few friends, obviously, but I think part of it is realizing that, I need a voice too, and I need to express my voice too, and I need to have a space to do that. And it's kind of gone in the background so much that I'm kind of almost unable to have a voice, if that makes sense. Like, I'm a little shy. I'm not used to speaking about it. And so when I think back to the last video I made the day before yesterday, I think it was the day before yesterday, it just made me realize, like I was just, I turned the camera on and I was like, I want to talk about something, but I don't know what. And I kind of just yapped about random stuff. But, yeah, I'm noticing a severe lack of some of that I should be having, just autonomy in what I think and say for myself. And the way that's manifesting for me right now is through these videos, which is the easiest thing that I can do for myself. Well, there's that, and there's journaling, but journaling for some reason comes to me a lot more naturally when there's something to think through and to talk about, which I think is the case with most people, and I think is not so surprising. But I think this energy is definitely something that I can direct to other places as well, like my music or art, right? Because there's something I want to say, I don't know how to say it, and finding out how to say that thing takes effort and time, and really just like failing a lot and figuring it out a lot. And the easiest way that I'm doing it right now is through video. It's just by like letting myself talk, just film myself, and then the reason I post it is just so that, I don't know, so I have, it's kind of like a personal log for me. Number one, this solves the issue of like me not having space to store all my vlogs. And number two, I think part of it is like it's a public space, but I'm also not really expecting anyone to see it. But if anyone does happen to see it, then my hope is that there's like a bit of value that comes from what I say, right? And a third little secret thing is maybe attention. Maybe I'd want the attention, because that's part of what I'm talking about. Is part of the reason that I feel the need to say things, to say them out loud, to write them down, to make music out of, is because maybe I don't feel heard. It's because maybe I don't, because maybe all of this time I've only been stuck listening, and I just wish someone would do the same for me. The issue comes when someone actually does listen, and someone did. Many people do, but then I realize the things that I have to talk about are shallow and not developed, because I haven't developed any of that. You know? So I can hear everything right now. That's horrifying. But I don't know why that makes me so nervous. Maybe it's because I'm talking my heart out, and I low-key don't want anyone to see it. But at the same time, I'm gonna upload this on YouTube. Everyone's gonna see this. Like, it's gonna be public. So I don't know. Yeah. I do a lot for others, and I kind of want that energy to come back at me. In the way that I want it, of course, which isn't so bad, but of course, there's the element of you should just do things for yourself so that you don't feel, yeah. But there's a certain kind of thing that you can't get for yourself, that only others can fulfill. A hug can't be given to yourself, right? And in a similar sense, the attention of someone else is also not something that you can get from yourself. Obviously, you shouldn't depend on it. And I don't think I am depending on it. Because I do talk about myself a lot to other people whenever they do ask about me. And maybe it's just I feel there's just something within me that I want to let out, but I don't know what it is. And maybe that's the heart of a creative at heart, is just there's something I want to say. I need to say it. That's why I should say it. And the way that comes out is typically in the form of a story. Whatever form that story takes place in is like music or writing or whatever, then so be it. But I'm kind of just here with none of the time for myself to figure things out. I'm really just doing things on the whims of others right now. But that's also my fault. I'm letting that happen. I'm not making time for myself. I'm not scheduling out the time for me to do things. Whenever I do things for me, it's always just been pushed to the side. Kind of like how schedules for friends can be altered so much more easily than schedules for family. Schedules for myself, I can just ignore, really, because it's the easiest thing to get rid of. And I think that's why a lot of people these days are like self-care. I only care about myself, so on and so forth. I feel like that's not the right way of thinking about it. I think you should have a healthy amount of that. Too much of that, and you become selfish, and you as a person will basically drive yourself extinct in the eyes of others, which is bad because community is important, socialization is important, connection is important, right? And so for me, I'm able to connect, I'm able to talk with others about things and so on. I was just not connected with myself, right? So if I'm treating myself like I would treat an other, that's where things happen, you know. And this is part of why I'm doing that. I want to just like talk to myself, talk not to myself, but talk for me, you know. Let my own voice be heard to at least me. You know, let myself not be played out in the background of my own head, but just chase the things, maybe not even chase, just allow the things that I am to be me, you know, and freely bring in change if that's what I need in my life. And I find myself kind of like really holding back change for myself. For others, I'm willing to. It's so easy to do, but for myself, it seems so hard because I think maybe part of it is I'm spending so much of that change for others. You know, I had this friend, and he would always ask me, why wouldn't you just like it's so easy to just text that you're busy, and also you're not that busy, like you can't spare like 5 seconds from your day to tell me you're busy, which is a very like a girlfriend thing to say, by the way, but he was right in that sense, but also but at the same time I didn't do that. I didn't do anything. I didn't change for him because it was a pain in the ass to change, you know. And that's, for me, part of it was also just like, it's not something I necessarily have to change. He's just making me do this, you know. I never have to do this with like other friends. Why should I do it with you? You know, it's not what makes you so special. It's more like, this is not necessary. This is a friction that doesn't need to exist, you know. I say all of this very clearly now, but it wasn't very clear to me back then. And also, I feel like even if I presented that point to him, he would say, I don't care. Just text me anyway. It's not that hard. Like, which he's right. It's not that hard. Nothing's ever that hard. Actually, to touch on that a little bit as well, my dad said something interesting, very interesting today. No, not today. Yesterday morning. He was like, we were talking about getting a pilot's license, and I was like, I've thought of getting a flying license. How possible do you think that is? And he's like, well, it's a thing people do. Given that it is something that someone does, what's stopping you from doing it? And I was like, huh, you're right. But why does that make sense? Because on some level, people are born different, right? But that's a very glass half empty mindset, right? In the glass half full, we're all human. We're all given the same opportunities, maybe at varying levels of difficulty, right? But that shouldn't stop the end result from happening to begin with, no matter who you are, right? It's just a matter of building towards that future that you want. Yeah. And I think there's a lot of merit in that. And you know. It was my dad's very subtle and little way of saying, you can do anything you want, and you have the ability and capability and within you to just do whatever. It's kind of like that scene in Into the Spider-Verse when Miles's dad shows up at his dorm and says, I see this spark in you, and I remember exactly what he says. But the essence of what I'm trying to say lives in that, you know. Anything's possible. You know, people are just capable of things like that, which means you're capable of things like that. Yeah. And in every sense of the word. Like my most recent problem of not being able to, like, maybe not being able to, but just struggling to get through this emotional slump that I've been through. People have gone through that. What's stopping me from getting through that, you know? Nothing really. So, I got this. I'll be fine. But yeah, circling back to what I was saying, I need to allow my own voice to be heard and just say it. I have this lovely friend. They've transitioned. She's from male to female. Yeah. But something that I really, really, really love and adore about them is that they're very unapologetically themselves, and they'll blurt out anything they want to say, and they'll take the brunt of whatever criticism that comes their way in whatever way they want. Like, you know, that's something I really respect about them. There's a bit of a thing that I'm not too happy about is that they don't really focus up when people say things, but I think that's kind of also part of being honest about themselves. It's just that they're what should I say? They're honest about the fact that they don't care. Sometimes, you know, which is fair. But I do think part of that, it's a bit of a struggle in that sense, which is, yeah, you should not give a fuck, but you should also give a fuck. Like, you shouldn't give a fuck about what other people think of you, or you shouldn't give a fuck about what you do. But at the same time, if you do that, some people could get hurt. You know, if you're like, I don't give a fuck, I'm just gonna like fucking play loud music, whatever. No, some people are annoyed by that, you know? So, you need to have the kindness within you to be considerate and understanding while not giving a fuck. There needs to be a word for that. There needs to be a word for not giving a fuck, but giving a fuck enough that you can change and adjust for people. Because that's the kind of giving a fuck I want to be. And not giving a fuck I want to be. I want to be that level. You know? I want to be kind. And I think I am kind. It's just a matter of finding the right level of assertiveness. To assert myself in any situation. Just like, make space for me. For myself. You know? Because I don't do that a lot. I don't make space for me. And I feel like I've earned this space that I can take up. Not so much deserve it. Technically, anyone can deserve or not deserve anything, any amount of anything, but earning's different. Earning, you've put in the work for that, And I think the person that I've worked to become right now, I've earned a little bit of talk.
Oh, camera died. Shit.